Mike, how are we doing today?
Feeling great today, Frank. How are you, my friend?
I'm feeling fabulous.
I love it. I love it. Today is a special day here in Perspective Shift.
It's Perspective Shift world.
Yep. We're in Frank's new house, so today's a fresh start for us. Frank and I are working on a studio downstairs. We'll have a new studio that will be coming to you guys from here shortly.
Yeah.
But right now, Frank, you got the keys. What, on Friday, Thursday?
Yeah, we got them Thursday, but moved in Friday.
How's it feel?
It feels really good because I worked Friday and Saturday, so my wife did all the moving.
All the heavy lifting.
It was funny. I got home on Saturday. She goes, "You know how many times I went up and down the stairs?" I'm like,
good workout.
Yeah, I was just doing what I do at work.
Well, for those listening, I don't know if you caught this on our last episode with Christopher Blackwell that we put out, but Frank briefly mentioned it. Why don't you give a little quick recap of how this kind of unfolded?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so actually...
Super synchronistic how you purchased the new house.
Yeah. And, so, remember, it was like 2 years ago for New Year's Eve. You and I just kind of, we didn't even plan this, but hey, let's have a resolution, whatever. Well, anyway, it was 2 years ago I talked about getting this new place. Yep. Now, I've been looking at this place since 2014. Yep. So it's kind of like the universal set its timing, if you will. Mm-hmm. And it never left my head. There was other places and opportunities I come to move to another place, but I didn't really, I'm like, yeah, it wasn't, because the place I was living in, I was completely fine. Yeah. And, it was like less than a week later after doing a session with Christopher Blackwell. Mm-hmm. And he does the sound frequency of his voice, kind of opening up chakras and systems that it may be blocked. And it's a really cool experience because you could actually feel the energy moving, right?
Absolutely.
But even then, I didn't really have any idea of what I wanted. I just got on with him because he's an old friend of ours. And I did it. It felt really good. And it's probably... I think it was on a Tuesday or Monday. I did it on a Monday. Mm-hmm. And then somewhere during the week, my my wife's ex-husband was looking for a house in our neighborhood. Actually, there was one up for sale. And he went to look at it. By the time he got there, it was already sold. Yeah. So it already went to contract. He was kind of bummed. So, we're really good friends with him. So my wife on Sunday, so this is just under a week, we wake up in the morning and she starts looking on the computer for houses to help him out.
Yeah, like Zillow or whatnot.
Yeah, and so I've been looking at this place for almost 11 years now, and the right one hasn't come up for sale. Mm-hmm. And she looks, hey, is this the place? I'm like, well, that's one of the units. Let's see what it looks like, because I wanted the 4-bedroom, because they have a 3-bedroom, what have you. And it was not even looking, out of the blue. We went to the gym. After gym, we went to look at it, and voila.
You walk in and you're like, this is the one.
Yeah, and it was completely redone, everything. It's like brand new.
So awesome.
So it's kind of like, so I guess we'll talk about this today. Letting go of everything, even having to want something, like the desire for it. Letting go of desire and letting the energy flow. Because no matter where I was living, I was completely fine. And all of a sudden, these opened up because it was part and parcel of my story, which it's still unfolding, right, until the day I die. But allowing it to happen and doing certain modalities like Christopher and with Christopher Blackwell, and obviously I meditate every day. But I don't even do it for long periods of time now. Mm-hmm. I can get into a meditative state really quick, do breathing every day and all this stuff. But I could just feel the energy flowing really well. And when I feel a little tinge, I just pull into a breath and let it go. But there's no, I feel a tinge when I want something, right? Mm-hmm. They don't have, or worried about something. And I'm like, why am I worried? I'm like, things always come my way. Well, this is how it all transpired. Again, I'm not saying what went on here, because the truth is, until I die and I'm looked at the whole story of my life, I really don't know.
Yeah, it's just
but there's something here that you cannot deny. And when you walk around in a state of already having everything you want, things do show up. So anyone out there that thinks if I stay there, I'm only going to get what I have. I'm like, no, you can't. Because everything is already manifested. You just have to get to the frequency where it's being seen at. So in other words, if I want to see a broad view of, say, Paris, I would have to place myself at the top of the Eiffel Tower. Or to do that. I didn't create the Eiffel Tower. I certainly didn't create Paris. but the manifestation of Paris was already there. I just had to go to that view perspective of it to see that what I want to see. And that's what it is. It's about letting go of everything you want in order to naturally raise to the frequency and where you're meant to be. And that's the part and parcel. Like I was drawn to this place over 11 years ago because it's unique to Arizona.
Yep.
These type of styles.
This is very rare type of construction. Frank's in a brownstone, and so I mean that's real popular in like New York and whatnot. Very unconventional construction out here in Arizona. There's only a handful of communities that do these type of models.
But it still has a slightly southwest look to it.
It's got the S-style roof.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I think the contract only built 2 of these in the valley. And
how cool.
So this one where we live close to, that's why. So it's kind of like I was drawn to it. So it was part and parcel of my story now that I know that. But I just completely let go, and that all transpired. And it happened with great ease. It took more effort to buy my car last time. And it's easy to buy a car these days. Like it's not like it took more effort to buy my car.
That's how you know it was just falling into place perfectly. I love that.
So it kind of like, so maybe we'll head off in the podcast today. It's about learning to let go. And when you feel the need to have something, learn to let go of that. And that's the premise of what we're talking about here on Perspective Shift. Is when you even let go of the things that you want and or the great experience you have, let them come in, but then let them go. Because what will happen is when the experience that you don't like come in, you learn to let those go as well. Correct. We tend to hold on to the things we don't like.
Especially those.
Yeah, and even if we hold on to things we do like, and you reference back, like, remember that trip we went to 5 years ago to Maui and all this stuff? All of a sudden you're holding on to it. I'm like, it feels great for the second, but all of a sudden, because you're not in Maui. And
you're bummed.
Now you're bummed. Even if you go in a week from now, it's like, because you're not there. But when you learn to have these experiences, and when you let go of the Maui trip, what happens is, when you come home and you go back to work, you're not bummed about work.
No.
Because you're not comparing it to Maui. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what we want to learn to do, is just let go. And I tell you, the breath is the greatest way to do it.
I think a lot of people struggle with, like, if I let go of something, then there's no way I'll be able to experience it. They think, like, if my attention's not on it, then it will not come to fruition. I will not get that experience. And that's not the case at all. In fact, the reason you have like a desire, the reason you have like these concepts, these ideas, these wants that come into your, experience, into your mind, it's kind of like a preview from your higher self. Like it's almost, hey, this is to come. And as you just relax into it, it draws that experience to you quicker and quicker and materializes.
Yeah.
It's
like
our higher self knows what we want.
Yeah, it knows what we came here to do. It's going to move us in the direction of our experiences. How we show up to the experience. It's kind of like if you're watching a preview of a movie and you fixate on the scenes that you've seen, and if you're waiting for them to come, you're missing the damn movie.
Yeah.
Now the preview is like, oh cool, that watching the preview generates energy for me to go to want to see it, but I have to let go of even the preview, because if I watch that preview and then I'm watching a movie, I'm like, where's this damn... Because I once watched a preview, and they had a bunch of clips in it. And one of the clips that was in the preview never showed up in the movie. They must have cut it out for some reason. And it was like funny. The whole time, like, where the fuck? That's the reason I came here.
Where was that scene?
Yeah. Like, I waited almost to the end. I'm like, that scene that drew me, I'm like, was in the preview.
That's so funny.
Yeah, now, like my mental self is all, that's all I was talking about, was that little scene there. But and I missed the movie.
That's freaking great. Yeah, I think it's too... I don't know, the way we've been taught about how this experience works, we've been taught like very, what's the best way to say it? Probably Newtonian physics is like the way where something needs to happen in order for something to be done.
Yep.
We're always thinking that we need to go out and physically do something in order to, have a certain experience or have a certain set of experiences come to us. And that's the world that is much more, I don't know if I want to say mental, but it's the non-physical that, is really what's going on in reality. And the physical portion is a very small, minute portion. And kind of like what Frank was saying, you can only experience and see a certain amount. I watched this cool video over the weekend about somebody explaining how like light works. and how much, information and light our eyes take in. And we're taking in such a minute amount of light that's actually here. And we're only experiencing a small aspect of reality. And it's really what we don't see is what's going on in the world around us. So we were seeing this very little bit amount, and we're basing all of our feelings, emotions, and everything on what we're seeing, rather than letting go and relaxing into the field, which will create a grander experience or a more preferential or comfortable experience.
Yeah, I love the way you just brought that up, because it just entered something into me. So when you look at the masters of all religions and cultures that came out, they all talked about this. And so when you narrow your field down to just you're going to live a tough life. But when you broaden it up to take care of the universe and those around you, that's when the things show up that need you to acquiesce with the world. And that's the brilliance of it. Take yourself out of the equation. Take your small self, which is the ego, out of the equation. It's only when I'm thinking of myself, worry comes in. When I give my attention to everyone else around me, because I don't care who you are on this planet, we're all in the service industry. Mm-hmm. Even Bill Gates is servicing by creating, computers and everything else. And billionaires are servicing people to some degree, right? We all are. So there's no such thing as just a service industry. All of them are. So how are you serving the universe? How are you serving your neighborhood or your family? Everyone, if you could do it without complaining, because if you realize you're here to service, that's exactly why you're here. You won't think of a service-oriented job as one that's a doormat.
Yep.
No, I'm here to service. And when things are called to me, I say yes. When I say no, I struggle. Again, I have to let go every time, because the universe will only give you what you need. It's not going to mess with you. Mm-mm. So people are like, oh, if I say yes to everything, I won't be able to do anything for myself. I'm like, but the things you're saying yes to is for yourself at the same time. And it lets the energy flow, because you have to circumnavigate, what you're supposed to be doing. It's kind of like, you don't know.
Yeah.
I only know what I've done. And when I start to realize, no, when I sit and my energy's flowing. So Mike, you mentioned earlier about it, people want to do stuff. You don't have to do it. The energy comes in, then the doing is presented. But most people, I've done this for years. I did so much to get to a certain place. Mm-hmm. It didn't work. It was exhausting. I achieved stuff, right? But the time I achieved it, I was like, oh my God, is this worth it? But then when I sit back and let the energy flow, all of a sudden, just like me walking into his house.
Exactly.
Like my wife is looking for her ex-husband, helping him out. And we found this place effortlessly. We went in there. And it's like, these are like bigger, exciting things, because even the everyday little thing, like just like running into somebody, synchronistic aspects.
The phone rings because you were thinking
today
about that person.
Someone sent me a clip of video and I watched it this morning at the gym, and I'm like, maybe I'm going to introduce that on my podcast.
Yeah.
This is exactly kind of what I was thinking. It's a clip from Bashar, So, but this is how it starts to end. It starts to flow. Everything comes your way. Yeah, you act on it. We're doing this podcast. We're doing physical stuff, Mm-hmm. I had to move in. Well, my wife didn't.
Yeah, you had to move it in.
I got to go to work. She's like, why don't you take off work? I'm like, I can't. I'm running the business, hon.
Yeah.
And I just escaped. I escaped walking up down the stairs.
You got a little bit of a reprieve.
Yeah, wait till she hears this podcast.
You're screwed.
You son of a bitch.
You're screwed.
Yeah, I didn't purposely do that, honey. It just turned out that way.
That's awesome.
But what happens is, when you live this way, you have so much energy. You're like a kid running out the door, but you're running out the door not to service yourself. You're just going to explore. And all of a sudden you explore, you do things with your friends, and all of a sudden it's amazing. Once I make it about me, my energy gets boom. Yep. It's isolated.
Well, you said it best. It's like you have this energy out, and then it zoom. It comes in, and it now I'm a person, something that can get hurt. I'm judging a situation, and you're like this finite, identity self. And that's not where we want to be. And we've been taught to only live from this identity self position our entire lives. And so it's like learning to relax out of this identity. Muji helped me a lot with that.
Yeah.
But to realize like who feels upset?
Yeah.
You know, the character feels upset.
Yeah.
You know, the character that I call Mike, you know, or, you know, I go out, I go do my job, you know, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But the more I identify with the character, the more sucked in I get.
Yeah. And that's it. And anyone out there, like anyone that's sitting on their couch doing a meditation, yeah, it's making your body feel really good. But notice what it's doing for your neighborhood, for your household. You know, if you're a parent with children, you're helping your children without even lecturing at them.
Correct.
So when you broaden your perspective on what it is we do, the better we feel, the more the systems around us work even greater. Yeah. So like me, you know, and Mike too is running his business. When I'm feeling agitated, it doesn't help.
No.
Because I'm the lead person, right?
That's when you know to take your foot off the gas.
Yeah, so I have to like go into this place with broad perspective, not like this is wrong, that's wrong. When I have my employees come, like they're worried about something, and all of a sudden, if I get in there with them, I'm darkening the room. Mm-hmm. But all of a sudden, I'm like, no, it's gonna be okay. And all of a sudden, I see a broader perspective. I see everything working out exactly. And it raises my energy. And when it raises my energy, things start to flow, not the way I thought it was going to flow, because it never works that way. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it really does. But just like I wanted this house, but the way I thought I was going to come about it was completely different. Again, so I had to drop the insistence on how it was going to happen. Yeah, and let it happen. And it got to the point where I was like, if I die in the house I was in, I'm 100% really fine about it. Mm-hmm. And I even stopped like
that's the neutral place that we want to rest.
Yeah, and
it's from a neutral state that miracles start to happen.
And the universe will show up in a time of fashion. The more we stay in this state we're talking about, where it's just letting energy flow to us, time just seems to merge quicker. Mm-hmm. So it's not that you speed things up. Well, if I was enjoying the day with a buddy of mine or doing something, say it was 8 hours that went by, but it only felt like 2. That's what speeds it up. But yet someone clocked it, because the last time I looked at one of these places was 5 years ago.
That's so funny.
But because I let go of it a while ago, that 5 years went like that. Mm-hmm. It literally went like that. So, yeah, okay, it took you 5 years. And I'm like, yeah, but it felt like it took no time in this space and time. And it came in perfect timing. I'm not like, I should have done this a couple of years ago. My wife does it all the time. Like, if I give her information, she's like, how long did you know that for? I'm like, why?
You're like, I don't know how to answer this.
Why should
I need to talk to my attorney.
she's like, why did you tell me early? I'm like, it just occurred to me. I don't know why.
Just click.
Like, take it up with the universe. Huh?
Yeah, take it up with the universe.
So, like, all of a sudden, when you realize that, it's like, oh, man. I'm like, when I learned to not want anything and just go out there and service, all these things that we've been dreaming as kids, young adults, whatever, start to appear. And that's when you take the action onto it. And if you go to take an action, you feel like a little trigger, that's a belief that's getting in the way. That's all it is. So don't get all panicked. We were talking about this earlier. When I'm heading up the mountain, the air is getting thinner. All of a sudden, my body just has to acclimate. It doesn't mean the universe doesn't want me to have it. I'm like, no, I'm just overcoming. My nervous system has to get used to a brand new altitude.
Yep.
That's it. That's what Christopher Blackwell was talking about.
100%.
What we're doing is when you get nervous, it's not the universe saying or God saying you shouldn't have this. It's saying you have a system that's used to being here. Now you want to go here. You're going to feel it. Mm-hmm. But when you push through, you're going to get used to it here. And then all of a sudden, it never ends. But now when I get that ting, that feeling, I'm like, I'm elevating to a higher level. Mm-hmm. I'm moving into a different level of life, so to speak. Yeah.
Totally like a different bandwidth almost of like frequency. Yeah. And I know what you're talking about. Like this applies to money big time.
Everything.
People are, it's everything, 100%. Yeah. But like people are out there, like, I want to be a millionaire. I want to do this. And it's like your nervous system can't handle being a millionaire.
If it's in the same system now. So you have to work.
Well, that's what I mean. Like it's learning to understand like, hey, this experience that you're talking about, your nervous system has to be able to handle that bandwidth.
Yeah.
And if we're stuck in this low vibration of fight or flight, everything's difficult, your life turned out this way because of, all these made up excuses like your parents, where you grew up, all these things that we chalk up, as reasons to why we're not where we want to be are just stories that have held us back for years.
But we all know this. This is how I know this. All right, let's take the lottery, for instance. I have a million of these conversations with people all the time. And I kind of play into it, just joke with it. But like, okay, say you won the lottery. Say you won, like, because some of these lotteries coming out like close to $1 billion.
Holy shit.
All right. Yeah, like remember there was a couple of them already.
Yeah,
so
they've been big.
Say you got half of that. It's like 500,000. So these are conversations how it happens. So you take out the lump sum. They take half and then they tax you on the rest. So 500 grand after taxes. Say it's like 400 million.
Okay.
400, whatever, 400 million. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, what do you do with that money? I'm like, first of all, you don't tell anyone you had it. So now you're looking at the problems, right? By the end of the conversation, you don't want the fucking money.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong, you'll take the money. But all of a sudden, the excitement turns into, why? Because your mind is thinking of someone that's maybe worth, a couple 100,000, and now you just got like 500 million. I'm like, you're not at that nervous system to even think about it. Like so now when people are like, if you won lottery, what would you do? And I'm like, I have no idea, because if I did, I would have that money. So I don't even play that game anymore. I'll play with people because I'm not a lunatic where I'm like, oh, I don't think of that shit, whatever. I'm like, no, I play with it, but I don't get in the mud with them. Or when I get in the mud with them, I'm wearing like plastic.
Yeah, you're stepping into the mud. You got your suit on.
But I have a mud suit on, so the mud just rolls off me.
I'll talk to you down here.
Yeah, because
I'm not going to live down here.
No, I don't live down there, and I don't say you shouldn't come up to me, but it really is when you go there. It's funny because I'm like, I have no idea because I don't have $500 million. But when if the 500 million shows up, it will then show me how to acquiesce with it, right? I'll learn not to panic and lose it all, I might change my phone number. But that's just how people think. I'm like, no, because if you were given $500 million, it means there's a guide, there's a reason you're supposed to have it. Mm-hmm. And then you'll find out what it's all for, right? Same thing with your job, your work. Like if you're making a certain amount of money now, stop feeling bad about it. And just like, okay, I'm here to service people. And what happens is you'll start making more money. Why? Because your energy field rises. It's impossible to stay at the same level. But don't count it. Don't, when it happens, you don't need to count it. You notice it. Exactly. The measurement, oh, there you go. There it happens again.
I do want to touch too for those listening. When Frank and I say getting down in the mud or playing in the mud, what we're talking about is playing in this phase or playing in this fight or flight stage, where most of our consciousness is at. It's the when you're playing in the mud, you're making judgments. You're passing judgment on others. You're saying, this is the reason that happened. You're trying to, ultimately it's playing in the matrix, playing in the 3D. That's what playing in the mud is. So I just wanted to kind of touch on that for those listening, so you understand what we mean when we say that phrase. Because you can get down in the mud and argue with people, and fight, blame your boss, blame your wife, blame your kids, or you can level up and say, hey, all of this is a reflection and it's showing me something that where I need to go next. You don't need to go to the, mountains in the Himalayas, to figure your life out, or find your guru in India. Your guru is right there when you wake up. The people that are calling you, the interactions you're having with your family and friends, your coworkers, your boss, those are your best teachers. And so playing in the mud is, fighting through all that, going, what's happening to me? Why is this happening to me? Why is the world happening to me? Nothing is happening to you. You're generating this experience. Yeah, but learn to relax into it.
Because how do you know this is supposed to happen?
We don't.
Yeah, so when you learn to enjoy everything from a higher level, it works. So I get the way, if you had a great experience, and what was linked into a great experience is you had energy flowing through your body, going through your heart, the chakras are completely open up, and then you looked around you and you happen to be, playing baseball with your friends or on the playground, or when you're older in Hawaii or whatever, it doesn't matter. And you think it was because of that. No, I've seen miserable people in Hawaii,
Absolutely.
It has, so don't, oh, I'm never going. I have people tell me they didn't like Maui, and but it's their energy. So when you could Michael Singer for 30 years would go to the correction facility, I think I'm assuming it was in Florida.
I remember this.
And he would teach people how to love their life even though they were in prison.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, come on. I'm like, because it's happening within you. The energy's moving within you. The outward is just an experience. Yeah, they committed some crime, so that's part of the story here, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean if the chakras opens up, they instantly click their heels and they're out robbing another liquor store.
Right.
But if they got out, they wouldn't rob another liquor store.
That's exactly it. Once you get to this, like when you start to get out of this fight or flight level, you realize, oh my gosh, I would never have this type of behavior because I'm hurting myself. Yeah. So you wouldn't steal or hurt others or anything like that, because it's like, why would I ever do something like that?
And that's how you really know this, because the circumstance around you may not change quickly. Like Nelson Mandela, if I get the story right, when he went in, he was went to prison. And, he was in prison for political reasons, not like any crime he did other than South African government thought it was. But so he went in there. But if I have the story right, it took him 7 years to finally let go.
Really?
Yeah. So then he fell into the state of love. He still spent another 20 years. He was in prison for 27 years.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So 7 years in, he was still angry, fighting, whatever like that. And I get it. Holy shit.
Yeah. That's
but then somewhere along the line, he just fell into the state of love. And then when he got out, he became the president of South Africa. He's no longer with us. But I'm like, so his circumstances, what we consider, didn't change for 20 years, but the way he felt was immensely completely different. Mm-hmm. And it's like it didn't matter where he was because the energy flowing through him. That's why when he came out, the gravitation towards him illuminated. And then you're thinking, like, it's even it was kind of like, it's a greatest story because he was in for another 20 years. Because we think we start to feel good. We open our eyes and like, oh shit, the new house didn't show up, the new car, the new wife didn't show up. And then the energy dropped. And then you start to believe this stuff is bullshit. Mm-hmm. I'm like, no. I'm like, you're still insisting on having to turn out this way because you want the big house. You want this to feel good.
They're saying I can't feel good until I have that. Yeah. When in reality, you have to feel good for that to show up.
Yeah. So like me feeling good was I was already there, and then this showed up. Right now it's a whole different level, but I don't feel better. I can't feel better than good, so to speak, or great, or whatever you want to look at it. It's just a different experience, and this experience will come and go too, because they just did a study. That 1 out of 1 people are going to die.
100% of us
100% of the time
are going to die.
So this experience we're having in the physical realm, we're going to dissipate. We're going to disappear from. So this will all go away. But why I'm here, I'm going to experience everything I'm doing to the best of my understanding of light energy, and it's not. So I have to drop the insistence of how it has to look, and then when it does, it's like, wow, it's amazing.
And watch it show up.
Just watch it. And all of a sudden you start to see things come your way that were part and parcel of the story in which you came here to live. Mm-hmm. But yet, when you put your attention on the greater, the bigger picture, the things show up like, oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. But it's no longer about me, because,
and you're using so much less effort.
Well, that's the thing is, like, my energy level is higher when I'm in these practices and doing like when my energy level drops now, I know because it's my thinking mind telling me this is the way it's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And again, it's not like I'm completely immune from it. It's just when that happens, I realize what's happening. Like if a smoke alarm went off my house, I'm running to the kitchen because that's most likely come from there. And I just simply turn the stove off, put the smoke out, no harm done, and then the alarm goes off. See, the alarm lets me know, but I don't go with the alarm like, why are you beeping? Why are you beeping? I'm like, you might want to go in the kitchen. You might want to let go. And if you go take care of the situation. So what the fire or the smoke in the kitchen would be to me would be that thought or belief I'm holding on to. Let it go. Distinguish that. Let it go. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden the energy starts flowing again. Nothing changed in the outside world. But yet, every day I move through the world. I'm like, okay, this thing I was in, this position I was in, my relationship I was in, I still have the same person in a relationship, but it's somewhere more delightful, more expansive. Why? Because your energy field, Like someone at the gym today, they came up to me and they were all excited and happy and they were in a good mood and like, man, you look younger today. I'm like, that's you thinking I look younger.
Like,
my wife just told me I looked older. I'm like, no, she never says that. I'm joking about that. But I'm like, that's your reflection onto me. I'm like,
exactly.
I'm like, I don't look any different than I did the last time I'd seen you. I didn't say that to him, but I'm like, yeah. I'm like, well, you're at a higher level, so everyone's gonna look younger. You know,
Everything's more vibrant.
Yeah, everything's more vibrant. And when it does, like, you know, some of the youngest people I've ever seen are in their 90s.
Yeah.
I have a couple of clients that are that old, and you know, they're always smiling, laughing. I had a client the other day. She came walking. I'm like, how you doing? It's like, I'm walking like a 90-year-old. I'm like, well, it's good. I said, it's a good thing you're 90.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Well, she started laughing so hard. I'm like, please don't die.
Yeah, exactly.
Please, like, I'm just laughing.
Poor lady.
She was laughing to where she couldn't breathe because, you know, she just has a great sense of humor.
Totally.
And those are the moments, these little things are amazing. They happen all day for me. But I don't hold on to that. I just let that go for the next one, and the next one, next one.
Exactly.
And it's the most brilliant thing. It's kind of our energy flow. So if you want to look younger, let your energy flow, and you're going to feel younger. But even if you're 90 years old, you're still looking younger. It's an attitude about life. I've seen young people that look old.
Totally.
They're always...
Well, I like how you bring that up too, because it's just like a good reminder on like how to live in this experience. See, we're taught like to like walk around and always be like keeping score, thinking about, you know, I got to get mine, you know, I need to get money, I need to, you know, have this. And we're always just, it's me, 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 me.
Yeah.
And when you start to stop focusing on that and you start to open up and you have this experience with like, the elderly, these random people you're interacting with, you know, your server when you're eating lunch, you know, or dinner, and life just starts to flow differently. We come to we live in such like a judgment-filled life. We like walk out the door, we're judging ourselves, we're judging how much money we make. We get to Starbucks, we're judging the barista on her blue hair. You know, we get to the next one. We're always like judging, classifying, etc. And when we can detach from that and start to see the beauty in everything, which trust me, you can when you start to look for it, that's when like a major life shift starts to happen. And you no longer focus on the negative stuff because you're like, why would I put any attention into that? Like, oh, I don't like how that feels. It's like the tinge you were talking about earlier. Yeah. It's like you can feel it and you're like, hey, I don't like how that feels. And it's because we're not supposed to feel that way. That's our body telling us, not to focus on it.
Yeah, and it's just a belief so if you have energy flowing through, your belief is going to be like a detour or a block, a resistor, if you will. And right at that resistance, that's where we feel the pain. Mm-hmm. So why are we resisting? We'll have this belief it has to happen this way. And I'm like, how's that working for you? Mm-hmm. Right? And so I tell people, start out with small things. Like let small things go and see what comes your way. Remember we did Dan, the Orange Man?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because he was
Shout out to Dan, by the way.
Yeah. But with I told the orange story.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's no big deal. Like anyone hasn't heard me tell the story. It's like I was working with Jeff on this one, and that's went over his house. He invited me over. This was a while ago. This is before his accident.
Yeah.
And we go over there, and he starts talking about like, yeah, I'm trying to work on this thing, getting something, and like I'm kind of stuck. And I'm like, hey, do me a favor. And he says, okay, what? I'm like, close your eyes, and imagine an orange in your hand. He's like, okay, now feel it. Feel almost the rubbery feel, the texture of it. Mm-hmm. Like you feel that. Squeeze a little bit. It's got a little flexibility into it. Now stick your thumb into it and watch the spurts come out, the sprites, right? And then peel it away. Notice the fragrance of the orange. Peel it away. Now open it up, completely take the peel off. Put the peel on the counter. Now split the orange in half and take a wedge out and shove it in your mouth. All right. And I said, open your eyes. And open your eyes. I'm like, there's no orange here. Mm-hmm. All right. And but you felt the whole experience of that, right? Now I was telling them this to say how we can work in the greater field of our imagination to see and get into the feeling of an orange. So we could do this with many things, but you have to let go of the insistence of it, how it showed up, right? Well, anyway, he's like, oh, the reason I invited you over is I want to do a podcast with you. I'm like, all right, let's do it. A short one. So I'm like, all right, where do you want to do it? I'm at his house. He goes, well, I like to do it. I have this thing called the Tree of Life in my backyard. Mm-hmm. And we go there and he sets the 2 chairs up. You know what the Tree of Life was? It was an orange tree.
Shut up.
Yeah, I swear to God.
That's so funny.
It was an orange tree. So the reason I use this orange thing, if you think about an orange and do this, what happens is, and we had a lot of people, I think Dan was the first one.
Yep, to write in.
Yeah, he was the first one to write in about this.
Yeah, we had a lot of people, listeners write in, tell us their experience about it.
And the thing is
because we don't care about an orange.
Anyone could go to the grocery store and get an orange.
You're totally
we're not talking about the effort of going to get it, but I think Dan was driving somewhere and there was like a bag of oranges there. It just happened to be there, and there was an orange tree in the backyard. So when you start to think about something that if you get, no big deal. If you don't get, no big deal. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, watch it appear within a couple of days. Mm-hmm. We call it synchronicity. Now, right? The reason I said do it with the small stuff, if you can learn to understand that $1 million is small, whether you have it or not, it doesn't matter. That's when, and it will acquiesce based on the experience you're having, the trajectory in which your life is supposed to go. So it's going to be part and parcel of your story. And people think, oh, this is my story. I'm like, you don't know your story. If you're reading a book, you're only on chapter 5 and there's 20 chapters. I'm like, yeah, you can get an idea of the characters, get an idea where the direction's going, but somewhere the author's going to hook it. Why? Because if you fulfill the understanding of the book by chapter 5, the other 15
gonna
chapters
be pretty boring.
Well, yeah, like I could end this book years ago, chapters ago. So do this, and all of a sudden you realize, wow. And guess what? Use the imagination. Whatever comes up into your mind is like Mike said earlier. It's the universe saying this is a preview of your life. So like the orange thing, which is something I talked about, but if somebody was listening that day, it was part of their story to to trust this system. It's about trusting this system 100% of the time. And when you're in the lowest chakras, you don't trust it at all. You have to save yourself. You have to protect yourself, right?
That's where we stay stuck. Yeah. Most of us are stuck. So
once we go up
chakras.
Here, listen, if someone, if a car, I was walking across the street and a car was coming at me, my body knows how to get out of the way. I don't have to work on that.
And that's a good thing. That's built in.
Yeah, it's built in. I don't have to worry about it. It's already done. So now what I want to do is work on the higher centers of my system. What else? How much love can I experience? How much service can I give the world? Mm-hmm. Like how much? Like what's enough? I'm like, I don't know. Let's find out. And when I go to a higher level, I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I can do that. Okay, I have to then work on that altitude shift because there's a belief there because I'm being drawn to it. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden there's a belief I have to work on, and I accept feeling bad about it. I allow the badness to come in my body. And then I let it go. I don't suppress and say, oh, I'm not supposed to be doing this. God, if God wanted me to do this, I wouldn't feel bad. I'm like, no.
It's an altitude change.
Yeah, it's an altitude change. There might be discernment where, because a lot of ideas come from other people. They're not mainly part. Like if you're reading a book and your buddy's reading a book and they're different books and he starts telling you about the characters, like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's not in my book,
That's not mine.
Yeah. But when you discern he's reading a different book, I'm like, okay. I'm like, I like those characters, but you don't try to compare them to yours. And so it's discernment about, should I be doing this or should I not? Well, discern whether or not it's moving in your path or it's just a side experience that is distracting you. Mm-hmm. When you discern that, it's not a big deal. Getting distracted is not a problem. Talking about your friend's book is not a problem, but it has something to do with my book. Mm-hmm. I don't get upset because he's talking about these great characters. I'm like, I got great characters in mine too. Mm-hmm. But I don't, my characters are better. That's just weird.
It's funny how our minds
it's different.
Do that.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I like the example of the orange because it just it's a perfect example that somebody can take, put into practice and go, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's because I had no weight given to it. I could care less if it happened or not. And then sure as shit, it just shows up. Yeah. Miraculously.
It shows up.
But that's the laws of the universe, is we give so much weight to these things that we don't even realize. And so they're like weighing us down throughout the day. And as we, every morning when we wake up and every night when we go to bed. And so it's like this slump or like a pull on this universal string that's like keeping it suspended away from us.
And also, here's another trap. This is a trap I fell into years ago. So all of a sudden, I find a bag of oranges out of the blue. I'm like, why didn't I ask for $1 million? You see what I'm saying? Right? Because, at the time, the $1 million was like, I was thinking I got excited too much about it. I was keeping that energy field away where the oranges didn't matter. But when you can live a life to where whether you have $1 million or a bag of oranges, then you're living life supremely.
Yep.
Really. All right? Because if you're starving in the desert, you don't want $1 million.
And we've learned this from so many greats, Jesus, Buddha, all sorts of
anyone that
figures.
represented like these
enlightenment.
Yeah, enlightenment. And that's the driving engine. The theme that runs through all the greats, masters, is the same thing. Their experiences were different. Like Jesus was different than Buddha, than Muhammad, than Moses. But yet the message, the underlying message, is still the same. And we started to let go. And think about all these people we talked about. They were servicing the universe or servicing other people. They weren't just there for themselves.
Correct.
So like Jesus could be like, I'm the only son of God, and step out of the way. I want that castle.
Yeah, exactly right.
I want that palace.
Jesus wasn't here teaching us a religion. He was teaching us how to ascend.
Yeah, he was teaching us a way to live. And he was teaching us to put the horse in front of the cart.
Yep.
But when I have to go do something to get something and hope it comes out, I'm putting the cart in front of the horse. And if I put the cart in front of the horse can push the cart. So there is some bit of movement, but I never get to sit on the cart or the horse because I have to direct the horse and jimmy up the cart. But if I put the horse in front of the cart, now I'm sitting there. Yeah, I'm turning it left, turning right, like where I want to go. But the horse and the cart and me are all one now. Yep. And we're moving in a direction.
Flowing.
Flowing. It's effortless,
The way it was meant to be.
Yeah.
And that's what's so cool about this whole, reality experience. It's funny, I heard, I was talking with Kayla and she was explaining to me, she saw this really cool video, how means something like a repeat or you've seen it, et cetera. So reality is talking about like it appears from our personality. Like when you're looking at like how we put words together. Same thing with like human. Light, man, type of thing. The way we experience this world is through light. And so it's cool when you learn how these words, where they come from.
Yeah.
And so like reality, is just an experience of how your personality, what you're feeling.
Yeah, because again, like you keep adding these words, but Christ, Jesus' last name was not Christ. It was Jesus of Christ. Right. And so Christ is the only way to ascend into heaven. So people think the way up, there was a man who taught this, but we are all Christ. We just don't know it half the time, or most of the time. So Christ is the ascendant being that we actually who we came here to do. It's like kind of like this, like what is looking through the eyes of Frankie that doesn't like life isn't the thing that doesn't like life. It's witnessing it. And when Frankie does like life, the same thing that's looking through Frankie's eyes is liking life. It doesn't care either way. That's the ascendant being that will come here. So then, okay, I'm going to acquiesce in the world. So if I have a buddy that wants to talk about stuff, I'll do it. I'm just not getting dragged into the feeling of it. I'm not going to get lost in it. But I'm also not going to, my natural state is going to resurrect it to a different direction without making anyone feel bad. And it doesn't mean I'm a doormat. I had to learn that because I never felt like people like, oh, you're a people pleaser. I'm like, well, why the hell would I want to disappoint people, right? But at the same time, like, well, you're not being truthful. I'm like, what your truth is what I call relative truth. What your truth is saying is an opinion. I'm like, I'm not as really opinionated. It's not that I don't have opinions. When I do have them, I try to let go of them as well. But I realize I'm not bothered by complimenting somebody because I really truly mean it when I say it. Or either way, and I've learned that throughout time. It's like, it was my natural state. But then when someone says you're a people pleaser, I felt bad about that. So then what happened is someone asked me to go help them do something, like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, right. You go to the other opposite
Take
end of the
advantage of me.
spectrum.
You want to hang out with me, you
Yeah.
gotta fucking pay me.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, that didn't work out well. I was like, what the hell happened?
But
you know?
this is that whole like showing you there's no black and white.
No.
We're always trying to like make things all this way or all that way.
It goes back to the thing.
And it's like, no, you're like walking this nice tightrope.
Yeah, before you walk in the spiritual path, you were chopping wood and gathering water. And when you're on the spiritual path, you're still chopping wood and gathering water, but the sensation of it, like you enjoy the gathering water. It's not a hassle to go get water anymore.
So I love this quote because it helped me like understand how the mind works. It's not the action, it's not the thing, you know, it's the way we hold our self-talk. It's the narrating in the head. You don't hate taking out the trash. Taking out the trash takes 5 minutes. It's God, I got so many other things that I could be doing. You know, why doesn't my wife or why doesn't my husband take out the goddamn trash? Like we got all these stupid things. And so when you start to like, you recognize that self-talk, you like start to laugh at it. And you're like, oh my God. Now all of this, you know, energy that used to be eaten up from taking out the trash, you know, is free, you know, and you're not as tired, you're not as upset because you're not attaching to this. You just do the activity. Same thing like with, you know, interacting with friends and family, you know, in conversation and stuff like that. The more you get sucked in, the more energy that's being, you know, pulled to.
Yeah, if you like, in other words, if you start, just do it for a day, but then you're going to want to do it for the rest of your life. Just give into whatever's asked for you. And when you feel the little complaint in your head, just take a deep breath and let it out and let the energy flow. You will get fed just like the other person's getting fed from your servicing them. Because I don't feel I came here to help people, because that's an indication that I know better and people need help. I came here to service people. Yeah. What do you need? You know, I need this thing moved. Oh, I'll move it. I'm like, I'm a spiritual guy. I can help you with your internal system. Like, well, right now I need this help over here. You know, like
exactly.
Yeah, like I don't have, like I remember what's his name, Father that we had on.
Oh, Father O'Brien, not O'Brien. What is it?
O'Leary.
Yeah, O'Leary. Thank you.
Was it O'Leary?
It might have been O'Leary. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, O'Leary. I think. Yeah, O'Leary. When he got out of seminary school, he was commissioned to go to Kenya. And he thought he was going there to convert Kenyans to Catholicism. He realized they needed plumbing. So he kind of scrapped trying to convince them that they need to be Catholic. And he went and helped them put plumbing. Because, you know, he grew up in Ireland where it was, you know, it's not a third world country. It's a first world country. And they have all this stuff. When he got to Kenya, like these people needed stuff, not like talking about Jesus and what he could save you if you believe in him. It's like, I need some water running to my village.
Literally.
So he did that. And then at night he would sit there and they would have talks around the campfire. And these people never heard of Christianity, but yet their ancestral stories were the same. And he started realizing, wait a minute. I'm like, this is a theme in human history. Yeah, because they were telling stories that were very similar to Jesus' story.
Of course.
You know,
all religions have.
He still remained a priest for a while. Remember, they told him, you got to go.
Yeah, they told him. They told him you got to go
because he was talking out against.
They're
it.
like, hey, sorry, none of this consciousness stuff.
That was a great conversation around. But
that was a great.
But when he got there, he realized, I didn't come here to convert people. I came here to service them. They needed someone to service them. That's how, you know, and they, you know, all of a sudden he gained a friend, a family.
It's kind of like your example that you use, you know, like if you go up to a homeless person, you're not going to sit there and start to teach them about consciousness. You're going to give them a damn sandwich. You know, it's like, hey, let's get into a state where you're calm. Your nervous system feels okay. Like, you know, let's get cleaned up. Let's get fed.
Yeah.
Like this isn't the time to, you know, enlighten you. It's the time like you're starving. Let's eat.
And that
Maslow's, cool, you know, whatever
hierarchy of needs, yeah. But what's interesting is like the homeless person. Like, don't go up and think, oh, there's a homeless person. Let me dig for $1.
Yeah.
Like, no. Get into a state of no judgment, and when you go up to a homeless person, you'll give them what they ask for or what they need, based on the energy coming through you. not based on what you think you should give them.
Yeah.
Again, now you're preconceiving what's going to happen here, and it's like if you know you're a musician and like you have an idea of what chord structure you want to play, but the other band members are playing something else. The chord structure you're playing can be beautiful on their own, but if you integrate them into a song that's not needed, it's gonna sound like shit. And then what happened? Like, that was weird. I'm like, yeah, you can't take everything logically and interject it. When you stay open and free and that energy flowing, it's intuitive. Like, someone once asked me, like, hey, I'm gonna go talk to my son. He's having this problem. What do you think I should say to him? I'm like, I don't know what you would say to him, but I could tell you, get into a good state, keep a complete open mind, and I guarantee you'll know what to say.
Yeah.
But
That's
if you preempt
advice.
it, what happens is, if the person doesn't register with that information, you're going to get angry. And that's what happens. Like, why won't you just take this information? I will help you. And they're like, that's not what I need. Stop telling me what I need. People that are in these places, like, service them. Like, if someone came in and wanted something, I'm like, no, you don't want that. This is what you want. Like, imagine walking to a restaurant, like, hey, I'll get the 8. Nah, you don't want that. You want the broccoli.
This is what you
You
want.
want the broccoli. Like, what the fuck?
You're like, no, dude.
Yeah. Like, yeah, you don't want that. Obviously, they ran out of eggs, so they only have broccoli. So they're like, yeah, this is what you need.
It's funny
like,
how they
no,
walk
we
around like that.
yeah, we got to refrain from doing that, because the person with servicing will tell us what they need, and you give it as best you can in the moment, whatever you have. If they're like, hey, you know, I need some money. Well, I don't have any money on me, but I can show you, you know, how to get money. Like, you'll know what to say without feeling, oh, did I say the right thing? Should I have given more? When you walk away and like, I should have gave more, I'm like, no, don't have buyer's remorse aspect. Stop it. You're thinking too much. We're not supposed to think. We're supposed to get into the world and respond. Like, any athlete or any musician knows this. If you're thinking about the music, if you're thinking about the sport, you are
choke.
done.
Yep.
You're done. You
You're
can't
gonna
think.
choke.
You have to respond. This is why we practice music. It's why we practice sports, because we get on the field or we get on the stage. I'm not thinking.
Yeah.
The field takes over. I know how to acquiesce with the field because I've been practicing guitar or whatever. And then I even learn new things playing in front of a live audience that I otherwise wouldn't have. And I'm like, oh, that was freaking cool the way I felt. But I got into this field. And when I get into the field with a homeless person or somebody else I'm servicing, I'll know exactly what to do, not before, not after, in that moment. So I don't walk around preconceiving, oh my God. Because I used to do this at work. I'm like, okay, I got this. I got an 11-hour day today. I got to do this. And I start thinking about each client. I'm like, all of a sudden, I'm like, my head is on the 5th client. I'm working on the first one.
Yep.
I'm like,
You're already drained.
That ain't gonna, yeah. Oh my God. I'm like,
Yeah.
but now it's like I go in. I don't even look at my schedule. I know what my first client's gonna be, and you know, I go in there.
Dive right into it.
Like, people are like, what time are we gonna be here today? I'm like, I'm not sure. I have to call to. I'm like, hey, what time am I gonna be here today? And you're like, you don't know. I'm like, nah, because I don't focus on that. I know roughly around,
But I see exactly what you're saying. It's just, it's a different type of interacting with the world.
Yeah, and all of a sudden,
Different type.
my energy feel like literally I'm go, not in a frantic way, in an energetic way, until I put my head on the pillow. If I'm getting tired, it's because I'm here. And it doesn't mean like, oh, I have to wait till tomorrow to start over. No. A couple of deep breaths in, and all of a sudden relax that energy. All of a sudden the energy starts flowing, because it's not that you ran out of energy. You can't run out of energy. We are energy. It's energy all around us. I'm just disallowing the energy to flow. Why is it energy come back in the morning? Because when you're at night sleeping, you're not in your head. So your energy is starting to flow greatly. So I can do that while I'm awake now. And then I'm getting better at it to where I don't really have to stop and breathe, because my energy is I'm used. It's like when I got my iPhone. The better I use it, now I don't have to plug it in for like at least a couple of days, you know. But it's nice to have a charger. If I need, I'm like, I don't freak out. I'm like, oh, my battery's almost dead. I'm like, just charge it. Who cares? You know, it's a charger. You don't understand. Like, well, what am I doing wrong? I'm like, well, charge it first, and look at all these apps you have open. The apps are thoughts.
Exactly.
They're thinking. So just close those thoughts. Those are thinking. Because we were meant to step into a field, have a thought or a premonition, and then act on it as best we can. Not to like, oh,
incessantly think about
I'm
something.
heading towards this field I want to be in. How should I act in it? I'm like,
You'll know when you get there.
yeah, it's like Yeah, you'll know when you get there.
You
don't
came
know,
with everything you got.
Yeah.
Everything you need.
That's all you need.
Walk into the situation. I do this all the time with work now. You know, despite the situation, what I'm going into, I'm like, well, it's going to work out just great. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And I just kind of walk right in. Zero thought about how something should be or shouldn't be. Actually, usually I say, I already know this is going to work out great. I kind of put a positive spin on things in my head prior to getting into a situation. I also walk into a room knowing I'm supposed to be there. You just hold yourself differently. And then people treat you differently.
Yeah, it's like you ever watch a movie based on a true story of somebody that, like I remember watching, what was that movie? With Will Smith. What the hell?
What's it about, or what is it?
It's the one, the Liberty movie.
I Am Robot or something?
No. It was the one where he had a young son. He was actually on the street. The Pursuit of Happiness.
Oh, Pursuit of Happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness. Yeah,
that's a true story. Yep.
It's based on a true story. So when you're watching that story, like at first he was down and out, but he wasn't going to give up. He's struggling, but then something clicked and he went into it, and his life turned around because, obviously made a movie about him. When you're watching that movie, you're sitting back, and even though he's like homeless at first with his son and everything else, you're like, he's going to make it. Mm-hmm. So why don't you have that feeling for yourself no matter where you are? This is why we're watching the movie, Like you're probably like, how is he going to get out of this situation? They always do. So we look at the highly successful people in the world. The only difference between them and the people that don't deem to be successful or have a problem is they never stopped moving and they figured it out. And the way they figured it out is by letting go. Mm-hmm. This is where I am. This is what I have to deal with.
Whatever comes up, I'll handle it.
If I'm struggling with money, if I have to go work Uber and enjoy working Uber, your life is going to change dramatically. But if you're waiting for the $200,000 job and not putting it out there, it's going to come. I'm not saying that you don't have to do that, but you're struggling. The struggle is there's other steps that are part and parcel of your story that need to be addressed that you're not addressing. But if you feel completely fine and, not doing anything, you might not have to get that Uber job. Not that, because the $200,000 job and the Uber driving to the higher being doesn't matter. Mm-mm. It doesn't matter at all. You're going to service either way. That's why you see these highly skilled people that, they're running a corporation and, they walk over and see a garbage can full, they'll just go up and empty it. Mm-hmm. Right? They don't start yelling. Because why? I found this out. It's easier for me to just go do it than to find somebody to go do it. And what happens when I go do it, people notice I'm doing it and they grab it out of my hands because they think I'm the boss man.
Correct.
And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not the boss. I might be controlling the field, but I don't own the field. Mm-hmm. I'm inhabiting or directing this business. Yeah, because the business can go when I go, or I can move it on to somebody else. That's how I look at it. Mm-hmm. But I make sure I'm at the peak place because I know I can control that. Just like when the Rolling Stones show up to play music, they're in control of that. But once the song starts, everyone's on the same field. Their brainwaves are just like Mick Jagger's. But Mick Jagger is the one who started along with the rest of the Rolling Stones. So be that. Be the one who starts it. And start me off. That was bad. I didn't plan that. I should have planned that. But anyway, be the one who initiates the field of energy that you want to live in. Don't wait for this opportunity, that opportunity. Be the one who initiates. Get into that field and watch what happens. Watch the people around you change without you lecturing to them. And all of a sudden, I'm like, God, this works. I'm like, yeah, what worked is you let your energy flow. Your torus field expanded. Mm-hmm. It all of a sudden expanded beyond the 4 feet in which most people are at. And all of a sudden, everyone is around you happier.
Yeah.
Like without lecturing, without telling them anything. And then, if you feel compelled to tell someone a way of looking at, by all means, do it. Kind of like what me and Mike do here, But it's the energy. Me and Mike, anyone's listened to us, they know this. When Mike comes over, it's probably a good half hour, right? Mm-hmm. We go into a breath work and then we follow it up into a meditation. So Tom, we sit down and press play on here, we're already in that field.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And then the field tells us what we're going to talk about.
Well, that's the thing. When Frank and I sit down, I try to completely detach the mic from this role, like the identity character. I step back from that and I allow
I thought you were
what
talking
needs
about
to
this
flow through. Yeah, right. Mike the person.
Mike the person.
I detach completely from it, and I'm like, hey, look, what's supposed to come out is supposed to flow. I'm not, and I actually do this in work too.
Yeah,
I've
do it
noticed this
everywhere.
has helped me a lot in business. Is the more I'm trying to think about what I should say, the more stupid shit comes out. So I'm like,
timing,
nope, I'm just gonna, what's supposed to come out is supposed to come out, and I'm good with it.
Yeah.
And I never feel stupid. If something doesn't go a certain way, I don't overthink it or think about how this should have been different like I used to. Nope. Just nope. That was supposed to happen that way.
Yeah.
And I move on with it. And then you just experience a totally different type of flow.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's getting yourself into that state, and then watching all the miracles that come with it.
And the way it happens is simple, is letting go. It's it, letting go. And again, how do we let go? Breathe in. That takes a will of consciousness. But breathe out. There you go. You just let go. When you follow your breath, it's the greatest teacher. It's the greatest guru for this three-dimensional world, one and four dimensions of time, with time being one of them. All of a sudden, my nervous system starts to adjust a little differently. And all of a sudden, people are like, how do you let go? I'm like, take a deep breath in and just breathe out. That's letting go. You see the feeling of letting go?
That's exactly
it. We let go of things all the time, but there's certain things we hold on to because we deem them to be important. And then we carry that around like a freaking badge. And all of a sudden, by the end of the day, it wears us down. Like, let go of everything. But know this, nothing disappears. Because everything remains.
And letting go to me is no thought. See, the thing is, again, we think that we have to incessantly be thinking about things all day long, and we don't. And it's simply not thinking about it. Something is so helpful. I don't know how to explain that more, but you do not need to be thinking all the time. That's how you let go.
And you'll know this because, like, we live in a day and age where we're starting to, like, you see this a lot in the news and stuff, where people are getting offended to an extreme level.
Oh, yeah.
It's because they're holding on to an idea that no one's supposed to treat them this way or say these things to them or whatever. And I'm like, there's an easier route. I'm like, stop giving a shit what people think or say.
Correct.
Like, you could let go of that. But like, no. I'm like, no. If someone yelled at me in a different language than my own language, I wouldn't get offended because I don't know what they're saying. So why would I get offended at the same person that yelled at me, or a person yelled at me, but in the language I could speak? And why am I giving that any more energy?
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, why would I do that? That's my choice. But people shouldn't do that to you. I'm like, okay, let's see how that works. That's how wars started, by the way.
Yeah.
Because they're not supposed to do that to me. I'm like, go for it. I'm not going to take that right away. If you want to do that, go for that. But there's an easier way. It's called the direct route.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks does not get upset when someone says Forrest Gump is simple. He doesn't. Because he's not Forrest Gump. He's a character. He played that. It was a concept, a construct. But he doesn't get upset when you say Forrest Gump was simple. Yeah. All right, whatever.
Exactly.
He doesn't care. So why do you care? Because who you are is witnessing the character that's holding on to these. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. This has to happen. All of a sudden, by the end of the day, you're just bound up. By the end of your life, you just want to leave this planet. And I'm like, man, you're going to have to pull me out of this planet once I discover these understandings and teachings.
Yeah, it feels so great to let go of that character.
Yeah.
It really does, because you've been guarding that character so much since you were a kid.
Yeah.
And, about how you've been hurt, and, this is who I am, and this is what I believe. And it's like, oh, wow, that's just a character.
Yeah.
This place feels better.
Yeah. Somebody say something like,
lot better.
what the fuck do you mean by that?
Yeah.
Like, calm down. Just ask you a friendly question. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah.
But you're no longer this
I was
visceral
wound
pull,
up, man.
or like, You know.
Yeah, I was so wound up. I almost punched a priest one time for telling me I had anger issues.
He almost decked the whole.
I literally, in my image, like I felt the blood raising up, and I was in confession.
Kick this guy's ass.
Yeah, that was funny because I was sitting there with face to face, and I think
Frank,
I've told this story before, but I go in there and I'm like, I'm just confessing everything, and like halfway through, the priest's like, "You got anger issues." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" I'm thinking like, "Fucking tell me I have anger issues."
Sock this priest in the face.
Well, the priest was right.
The priest.
He was absolutely right. But literally, I felt the blood like raising up. Like, I didn't want to hear
know.
that.
You're talking about like the sweat on your back.
Yeah, anyone
that
that's
heat in your shoulders and your neck.
Oh man,
I hate that feeling.
I could literally. He probably saw the blood like temperature raising. It's like, "Are you okay?" I can't about to square up and fucking him with right hand, right in the forehead. That's like I'm sitting there picturing me hitting him in the forehead. Like, don't tell me I'm angry.
Don't tell me what how I'm thinking or feeling.
Yeah, son of a bitch. Because if you're anyone out there Catholic, you know that the priest is not a therapy. It's just to resolve you of your sins.
Yep.
Not to comment on them. Right?
Yeah. I appreciate that, Father.
But I'll tell you what, when I made it to the parking lot, because I couldn't even get to do my 10 Hail Marys. I'm like, "Our Father who art," and I'm like, "Who the fuck does this guy think he is?" I had to leave the church because I didn't want to get like struck by lightning because I still had the Catholic belief in me.
Yeah, right.
So I get my car and I was pissed off. And before I even left the parking lot, I had to pull over because I was crying laughing. Because he was right. He was absolutely right, and that's why I laughed. And
like,
in that moment, everything, like the anger changed me, and I said, I started working on my anger. So I was telling the client, and they're like, "So you went get anger management?" I'm like, "No, I just took care of it on my own.
Yeah,
I didn't go to a therapist. I realized I wasn't aware I was angry.
We come here equipped, able to handle everything. We don't have to.
Again,
do
if you want to go to therapy, there's nothing wrong with that. I have nothing wrong with
course.
therapy. It's just, again, like, anyone that's an alcoholic, go to AA. But at some point, you have to let go of AA as well in this
There's
journey.
a direct route.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not that you shouldn't go to therapy. I don't want to tell anyone what to do. But for me, it wasn't, it wasn't something I needed. I just wasn't aware I was angry. I really didn't. They're like, "Oh,
I love that so
he
much.
was right." Yeah.
We should wind down this episode with the Bashar clip because you mentioned that earlier today, and I'm sure people were like, "Hey, what was that Bashar clip that you heard?"
Yeah,
at the gym?
I don't want to leave.
I know.
I
want to know it too.
Yeah. Okay.
We should play that clip for everyone.
All right, here we go.
The particular piece of music that is the appropriate vibration to allow you to be in the proper state to attract whatever information or whatever situations or whatever people or whatever opportunities you require, dealing with the ideas of health issues and also dealing with the issues of letting go, forgiving the self, letting go of regret, letting go of grief, letting go of all those things that allow you to lower your vibration in that way, to forgive yourself, to free yourself, to be more whole. The specific piece of music is the first 3 minutes of Beethoven's Symphony No. 7, Movement 2. Play that while you're in a peaceful state of repose. Let it wash through you. Those chords are precisely what will tap into the idea of letting go of the past, letting go of sorrow, letting go of grief, letting go of regrets, and forgiving yourself and moving toward the vibration that will attract to you whatever information is germane to allow you to be in the healthy state that is your birthright.
All right, there you go.
So this clip was freaking perfect.
Yeah.
I love how this just tied everything we were talking about together. This is my first time hearing it, and that was so sweet. But I have to tell you how synchronistic this is. I was listening to the Beethoven song this morning when I was getting ready.
There you go.
So I can't. You sent it to me one time.
Yeah.
And so Bashar did this clip where he looped it.
Yeah, for
and
like
he
an
made
hour,
it, yeah,
right?
he made it an hour.
Yeah.
And so now I keep it on like the background. Like
Yeah.
I keep it's a tab I have open on my phone. And after I do my because I do a breath work before I come see you. So I get up, I do a breathing. But I've had that playing today when I was in the shower, just in the background, the Beethoven thing.
Yeah.
And I randomly turn that on throughout my day because it does help me to release and let go.
Yeah, and anyone that's having trouble let go, sit there and listen to this and just do a slight breathing in and out and listen to it. It's Symphony No. 7, second part, the first 3 minutes. But if you go onto YouTube, I think it's
You can Google Beethoven Bashar. and then you'll get an hour loop of it.
Hour loop of it, and it does work. So there's another modality in which you can use. Again, Vishal will tell you, is permission slip. It's a really good permission slip because in this three-dimensional one of time, the fourth dimensions that we're here, permission slips are experiential. All right, and that's why we say permission slip. They're not necessarily needed, but again, we came here to experience the permission slip. So when you listen to a piece of music, and Beethoven at the time when he wrote that was transitioning in his life in that moment in time.
So cool.
And he was learning to let go. So he didn't realize. So what came out of him was this music. But it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to teach people how to let go. It wasn't like that. But when they study this music from a frequential place, and the scientists study it, I'm like, yeah, this actually gets into the system, allows you to let go of beliefs that are no longer working for you or anything. And all of a sudden, like, oh my God, I feel good. Well, then listen to it every day until one day you don't need it. But who cares if you have to listen to it every day?
I love how Bashar was saying.
My wife has to listen to my voice every day.
I bet you wish you could let go of that. I love how Bashar was saying this. He's like, we have to let go of the past. We have to let go of sorrow. We have to let go of grief. We have to let go of regret. These are all the stories, guys, the baggage, the negative self-talk, everything we're holding on to. And we're saying, why won't my life change?
Yeah.
And it's because we keep focusing on this stuff. We keep saying, I was there. I know what you're feeling. You're like, I don't deserve to feel good. I have to resolve these first. But there's nothing to resolve. There's nothing to do except let go of it and put your energy in the direction you want to experience. Then good things start to happen. It's like you're like sitting here going, no, I have to hold all this baggage so people know that I'm aware of it, and I'm working through it. And it's like, no, nobody cares. Nobody cares about the stories. Nobody cares about the shit you've been through. You can let go of all of that, and it feels so good.
Yeah.
It really does. And damn.
Yeah. So today's
Great
practice
clip
for you guys is let go as possible. Do it throughout the day. Take a couple deep breaths in. Listen to this piece of music as much as you can, and watch how your energy level goes up because you're letting go of the blockages of the energy, and then you're going to notice the world around you is just more beautiful.
Yeah.
Things don't have to change from the outside world. You're still going to be chopping wood and gathering wood. You're still going to be going to work. But watch what happens. Watch how you feel about it. It's amazing. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, guys, on our first episode in Frank's new home, which is exciting. We'll be tuning in from the Perspective Studio in the next few weeks, guys. We're going to start getting it together.
Yep.
Yep.
I've been trying to get it together my whole life.
I think everyone's been trying to get it together their whole lives.
But,
that's part of this fun experience that we call
exactly.
humanity and reality.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks for tuning in,
Well,
guys.
thanks for tuning in. Much love and peace out.
See you next week.